Good morning. So it's 5 a.m. here on, September 30th? And this is day one of my multi-day trip around the bay. So I'm doing, a bunch of places in the North Bay. It kind of depends on where the forecast where I'm actually going to end up going, just because the wind has been a bit squirrely. But today's plan, we're going to St. Michael's, meeting Gwen in St. Michael's. So it's like a 25-mile sail, and the conditions look really good for sailing. Wind-wise, but the waves might be a bit rough. But in any case, my lessons learned on these type of trips get started as early as possible. So should be getting out of here within 30 minutes or so. I kind of wanted to see the sunrise on the water and test out these new navigation lights on my fancy new Cape Dory 28, which I will do a tour of at some point. For the past 6 weeks or so, I've worked most weekends on the boat, just kind of getting it into a good spot, condition-wise. You can see I've got my instruments all going, got some food, got some Ryobi, drills and such. Yeah, should be a good trip, I hope, and hopefully all of the safety systems I'll test it out before, so I think we'll be fine. So let's go. Pretty much the only reason I'm on this trip, test out my 3D printed gimbal jet foil. Whoa. So when the boat's heeling like this, the water stays straight up. I can have my coffee. Well, conditions are somewhat brutal. We're kind of like getting picked up and slapped down. We're getting picked up and slapped down by the waves here. And, we pretty much have to beat to windward the entire day. So we have to make it up this sort of channel right there. So we're making a decent course. Oh, Jesus. I don't want to take this camera out there, but you can try to get a sense of that. The problem is we get a little bit of momentum, and then one of these waves comes and just kind of arrests everything, arrests our forward momentum, and we have to kind of pick up speed again. So we're averaging like 4 knots, which isn't terrible, but yeah, not the most comfortable ride, I would say, overall. The original plan of doing one long port tack up through this Eastern Bay channel is not going to work because the wind shifted to be originating more from the east, which would basically mean that you'd have to tack up and down throughout that channel. It's already pretty rough out here. So I made the decision to go south and motor up between Poplar Island on the left here and Tilghman Island on the right. So right now we are motoring directly into the wind. Into the wind. All right, so occasionally you need to check what's in front of you because I have the autopilot driving the boat right now. So I peek out this little hatch in front. No boats, no conflicts. Oh, Jesus. But yeah, the risk of getting sprayed. There's a lot of carnage inside from the sail across the bay, including all of that, and this, I broke the autopilot somehow in the chaos there. All this fell off in the front, all that stuff. The cushions fell. What else fell? The cutting board fell off. Yes, it was an interesting passage across the bay. I mean, the wind is great. It's just the waves. I mean, we were seeing swells of, I think, had to have been 3 or 4 feet. I had some bowls here full of, like, you know, projects that I'm working on, and that just blew all over the cabin, into here, on the floor. I decided I'm gonna put those in a plastic bag. You know, we're motoring right now, so I wanted to just sort of clean up this area while I have the chance to do so. But yeah, this isn't gonna work. So I need to find a new place for these bowls. I also, unfortunately, my great stereo JBL system, I usually put like one here and one here and map them in stereo, so you get like a kind of nice big stereo image in the cabin, and it actually is actually pretty good acoustics in this cabin, which is awesome. Yeah, they slid, and I didn't think they would, because they're pretty close to like the center of gravity of the boat. But yeah, even the bolt carriers that were the bowls that had bolts in them in the center pitched everything everywhere. So yeah, clearly not enough. And of course, here's the front, where everything else fell down. Hopefully my computer's okay. My laptop's in there. We just left St. Michael's, or I did. Gwen went home. Is driving back. She's got to work this week. But we are back on the open water, and I'm going to do a bit of sailing before, I think, anchoring in the Wye River tonight, which is, I've heard a lot of good things about this particular anchorage in the Shaw Bay. So you can see here on the map, that's up here. But, you know, it is 2:30 right now, so, or 2:45. So I want to do a bunch of sailing around here. We've got a wind coming from the north, so I can do, you know, some tacking and just kind of broad reach fun stuff, beam reach fun stuff in this big open bay area, which is about 1.5 miles wide. Let me actually find out. Yeah, about 2 miles wide. So that should be pretty fun. I just want to kind of sail a little bit. We've been kind of eating at restaurants for 2 days, so I want to get back out on the water. Today there's only wind in the morning, so we're going to leave pretty much right now. Nice morning sail. Crispy morning autumn sail. So today is day 6 of the trip, and it looks like the wind is going to basically be dead the rest of the week, unfortunately. And I mean really dead. I mean between 0 and 3 knots, and waves are essentially 0. So I'm going to be motoring around, but plan for today is I'm going to go to Hillsmere. So right now we're in the Rhode River. We're going up to Hillsmere to meet John, who's the person who sold me this boat, who is going to give me the dinghy that he also included in the sale of the boat. And I'm going to tow it back. I'm going to take advantage of these really calm seas and be able to tow that back to Deale, where I keep this boat. And there's a little dinghy storage dock there. So yeah, I mean, not the best wind conditions, but the weather is incredible. It's been, you know, high of 75, low of 60 at night for the past 2 days, and going to be that for the next 3. So I'm pretty excited about that at least. And yeah, going to do some cooking and I'm going to write some music, I think, today. So excited about all that stuff. I continue to sleep amazingly, by the way. Last night I slept from 10 to maybe 9:30 to 7 a.m. with no disturbances at all. It's incredibly calm here and just beautiful. There was last night, or 2 nights ago, there was a ton of noise on the boat, which I figured out what the cause of that was. It was 2 halyards that just need to be secured in a different way, because it did get windy in the middle of the night 2 nights ago, like 10 to 12 knots, which caused that to slap against the mast, which was actually really annoying. So I had to get out in my PJs and go fix that on the deck. But last night, the only sound I heard once was, I believe, the anchor chain rubbing against the full keel, because it sounded like a like, you know, it was going over chain links, which, you know, there's so little wind that I'm not really set. The anchor's not consistently in front or in front of the boat. It's just kind of a one mess, and I'm floating above the top of the chain. I have 75 feet of chain, which is probably too much for the bay. So basically we're anchored to the weight of the chain right now versus the anchor itself. But yeah, I have anchor alarm set and all that, so not concerned. looks like the chain was stuck in the mud, obviously, so I've gotten some of that on it. This is how I secure the anchor here. This little line that I made. We're greeted by this really ridiculous fog, and I think visibility is maybe, it's improving. When I first got in here, I was like, and over there, look, it's worse. It's probably, 400 or 500 feet over there. That looks like more like a third of a mile. But yeah, it's, I'm moving just really slow. I mean, there's like basically zero wake, so just moving super slow, hugging the coast here. And just working my way up the right side of the channel. I think that'd be safe. I'm staying out of the center of the channel, but I don't have a radar, and I don't have really any way to see an incoming boat besides just seeing it with my eyes. So I'll use my eyes, and there's no reason to worry. But it looks like some bait fish activity up there. See all these ripples? I'm not sure if that's showing up in the video or not. Yeah, it's supposed to be sunny today, so I'm a little bit disappointed in this. We'll see. So we have picked up our dinghy, which I'm very excited about. I'll pull it out here. That's polypropylene line, so it floats, so it's not gonna get caught in the propeller when I tow it behind the boat. This is my first time towing a dinghy of this size, so I'm a little bit not sure about what I can do wrong, but the plan right now is just reverse out this way and the dinghy will just follow, and hopefully we had no problems. I just have it cleated off right there. I think that's plenty. But anyway, yeah, this is Hillsmere Marina. This is where this boat was for 15 years or so. I walked into town, got a couple of supplies, and we're ready to go back and probably sail to our anchorage for the night. Look at that, we're towing great. Really stoked about that. I don't know if I have too much line out. I don't really know how to do this at all. But yeah, just got it cleaned off, looks fine. It's cruising. Wonderful. Wonderful. And the first thing I did was run aground. So it's definitely soft sand, having really slow, but I don't really understand these markers and the charts are clearly wrong. So yeah, we're just gonna have to play this one by ear, I guess, because I don't understand how I'm supposed to get in and out of this. How does it do in this wake? I'm actually kind of worried it'll get water in it. Nah, that looks pretty solid. So I think I'm understanding now what's going on with the port. So when I'm on a port tack, meaning the wind is coming over the port side of the boat, so left to right, there's significant weather helm, which means that the tiller wants to steer the boat into the wind. And so in order to counteract that, you have to turn the tiller this way in an outsized way, only on a port tack compared to a starboard tack. So I've been pretty confused about this problem, like what this might be explained by, because it doesn't happen on starboard. So weight distribution was one hypothesis, like there's water in these tanks below, maybe that's just unequal. Another one was the rudder itself is misaligned, meaning like the center of this on the rudder is not actually the center position of the rudder inside the water. I've never seen the rudder on this boat, so I'm not sure if that's the case, but it doesn't really happen on starboard tack. And it doesn't seem to me like that is the problem, because when I'm pushing it, like it's basically in the center when I'm going forward on the motor. And so I just got a clue, because I had only the main up and we're running downwind with the port, with wind coming over the port side, and it's turning into the wind. And then I put the jib up and it stopped. So I'm thinking that where the jib is relative to the hull, like if you think about a full keel, like all of the lateral resistance is in the back here, in the stern, which is closer to the mainsail. So essentially when we don't have this force pulling the boat forward, the mainsail alone makes the boat want to twist left. So I think that's what's going on, because that really just stopped it. What I don't understand, though, is why it's only happening. Oops, I need to be way out in the channel. What I don't understand is why it would only happen on the port side relative to the starboard side, if that's really the problem. So, TBD, but that was an interesting clue. So we have the opportunity to use the whisker pole here because we're going basically direct downwind, and I've never actually used it before. I did rig it up. This is it right here. And this is the halyard for the topping lift, which I will need to probably use in some way. So, the way this works, see, it's attached to a track right here, so I can basically pull it out and pivot it and articulate it. And what I'm gonna do is attach it to the sheet here. Okay? Attach the topping lift here, and so basically when I pull on this halyard, it's gonna pull this up. Is this gonna fit? Oh, it does. By the way, this is my whisker pole. This did not come with the boat, so I don't know if all this stuff is gonna work so perfectly. Next thing I'm gonna do is pull in, or let out this jib sheet, because it's holding the jib on the starboard side of the boat. So I'm gonna loosen that up so there's slack, so I can pull it over to this side, and then I'm gonna run this over the winch, crank. Look at that, see the whisker pole lifting up a bit? So as I pull this in, it's gonna pull this jib over to the port side of the boat, along with the pole. Come on. Actually, I did this out of order. I need to keep this loose while I lift it. That makes sense. Okay. So topping lift. Here we go. Oh, that's going the wrong way. So we need to make sure it. We might not be quite going enough downwind, but I hope this works. Yeah, it should inflate on this side. We need to extend it. There it is, okay. Okay, pull it up a little more. Pull this in a little bit, and that should kind of pull us out and open. And now, we're wing on wing. Can you believe it? Look at that. Doing my morning coffee and ukulele ritual. And so this is kind of near Annapolis, and I was thinking for today to take my new dinghy into the park and then walk into Annapolis and go to this store called Bacon Sales. But honestly, it's kind of like a 3-mile walk, and the wind looks okay this afternoon, potentially okay if we're out on the open bay. So this is a sailing trip. I think that I'm just going to go into the park and, you know, do a little walk or something and drink another coffee or so, make breakfast and just go sailing all day. I'm probably I might cross the bay again and end up in Tilghman Island. I don't exactly know where I'm going tonight, but I feel like it's a cop-out and a waste if I go back to Deale tonight, because that would be my 7th night. It would make a full week on the boat, which I think would be kind of a cool milestone. So, and that was the whole point of this trip, was to test, you know, how long can I stay on the boat comfortably, and what systems are going to break, and what do I need to work on, and all that type of stuff. So let's do that. Yeah, let's do it. I'm bobbing around in Harness Creek. I've got no place to go for the rest of the week. What do I do? Where do I go? What do I
do? Where do I do? Where do I go? What do I do? I'm bobbing around in the Chesapeake Bay. I've got no place to go, and I don't know where I will stay, 'cause I'm bobbing around, bobbing around, bobbing around in the Chesapeake Bay.
So we went for a nice walk in the park here. We're heading back to the dinghy to get back on the boat. It's you know, the sun is burning off. There's a bunch of fog this morning, just like yesterday. So it looks like the sun has burned that off, which is a little bit sketchy running in the fog. So I'm excited to have a nice clear day ahead of us. I don't know about the wind. We'll see. And we are back to our dinghy. A little bit of water in there. Had to get out of there pretty quick. Those mosquitoes were attacking. Looking like a motor day, so I'm picking up some eggs here. Let's finish those up. But yeah, I want to make it to Tilghman Island, but I'm not sure that's going to be possible, because look at this water. It's just like there's nothing here. This is glass. The dinghy is slowing down like a knot. So I don't love it, but at least we got breeze going when the motor's on. About the same location we were when on Friday on our trip to over the bay to St. Michael's, where, you know, the waves were 3 to 4 feet and the wind was 25 knots. So it's funny to see the difference then to now, because it's like glass everywhere. I mean, it's kind of wild. It's very peaceful, except for this cruise ship who keeps. They're just turning up and down the channel. Like, you know, first they were going to the eastern side of the channel, and then they moved to the western side, and then I was on the western side, so I moved to the eastern side. Now it looks like they're turning again, so I don't totally get what they're doing. I'm debating opening some white wine because it is slow today. Very slow. Okay, I think I have a plan for the night. So we are heading right now, we're motor sailing at like 5 knots to Tilghman Island, Knapp's Narrows, which is this channel right here. And I think we're going to go through that drawbridge and then end up on the other side of this landmass, Tilghman Island. And then head up this channel, up. Right here, it looks like there's a dinghy dock, like an anchorage and a dinghy dock where you can kind of dinghy in and walk to this bar, which is a 20 minute walk supposedly. The only issue is it looks like the wind is picking up overnight and it's coming from the southeast, and for this anchorage that would be really bad because it would be, you know, create some waves coming in there. Might have a really rolly experience. But I found this little anchorage down here, which is called, what is that, Harris Creek or something? Dunn Cove. So I think if I get far enough into here, which it looks like there's plenty of space, I'll be just fine and I'll be protected from the south wind. So I'm gonna try that. Capiche? Great. sailing vessel Kukai, calling for the Naps Narrows Bridge. Am I all clear?
Yeah, you're clear. Come on through.
All right, thank you. So we're anchored here in Harness Creek at that dinghy dock area I described before. Here it is. I'm gonna go in and get a drink and sit in the air conditioning because I'm dying. It's so hot today. Basically no wind until right now. Actually, it's gotten a little bit more comfortable, but you know, I'm here, so I'm gonna go in. I just realized this is the dinghy dock, not out there where I tied up, but oh well. I hope this place is open. And everything's safe. Looks good. We're gonna get an early start today. It is about 6:30, and yeah, we're gonna do some motoring for a good part of the morning, just because the wind is coming from the south, and we have to go down this channel from the north. So instead of just hacking up this channel, which is pretty narrow, we're gonna motor down. We're gonna go through the Naps Narrows drawbridge again, which is pretty cool. Yeah, and we generally have a lot of ground to cover, and I want to get my crab cake sandwich, so we gotta move pretty fast here. This is sailing vessel Kukai, calling the Naps Narrows Bridge. I am coming from the riverside east and heading to the bay west.
Copy that, Kukai. Come on through.
Thank you so much. You'll see me in a second.
Copy that.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, Kukai. Enjoy the rest of the day, Cap.
So we're just about out of the Naps Narrows channel, and we're back into the Chesapeake Bay from the riverside. There's a little bit less wind than I was expecting. I thought it was going to be like 15 knots or so, or sorry, not 15, 5 to 8 knots out here, coming from the south, which would allow us to do a beam reach kind of straight across the bay back to Deale. And it doesn't look like that's the case, but maybe we'll see when the sun, usually when the sun comes out, like that's when a wind change occurs. And the sun just came up like 30 minutes ago, so I think that there's a possibility that will cause, as the sun heats up the land, it'll cause a heat exchange between the water and the land, and therefore wind. But if not, we'll be motoring. I mean, motoring's been the theme of yesterday, was definitely the theme of yesterday, and it could be also the theme of today. I do want to get some sailing again. It's the last day, unfortunately, so the plan for today, I just want to go get my crab cake sandwich at Skipper's and then dock the boat. I have to wash everything off because everything got covered in salt water on the first day, on Thursday, on Friday when we sailed to St. Michael's. So I want to get that. I want to do a deep clean. One of the rules I've learned about boating is it's best to clean while you're leaving. Never leave a dirty toilet, never leave a dirty kitchen, and then come back to it a couple weeks later. You just don't want to do that. So I do have time budgeted today just to do a deep clean of the boat, including my favorite Clorox bleach 309. I think it's called 409. It's a fantastic cleaner for boats. It's got just enough bleach in it that everything kills, but it's like still easy to work with. Absolutely highly recommend that product. All right, let's speed up a little bit here because we're out of the channel.